Mark Wahlberg was all smiles as he stepped onto the set of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, looking like a man in control. Dressed in a sharp navy blue suit, with his signature confident swagger and a charming grin, he greeted the roaring audience with a wave. Colbert welcomed him with a warm handshake and playful comment about Mark's insane 4 a.m. gym routine. "I woke up at 4 too," Colbert joked. "Except instead of weights, I lifted a croissant." The crowd laughed, and Mark chuckled. "Hey, whatever gets you through the day, man." Everything seemed lighthearted at first. They traded some back and forth about Wahlberg's new action thriller film, his love for Boston, and even a quick impersonation of a movie villain that had the audience in stitches. But just as things were warming up, Colbert pivoted. His tone shifted ever so slightly, and the next question landed like a brick on a glass table. "You've had an incredible career," Mark Colbert said, "but you've also had a complicated past. Do you think you've done enough to truly make peace with that part of your story?" Wahlberg blinked, caught slightly off guard. "Well, I've talked about that a lot over the years," he replied carefully. "I've tried to own it, grow from it, and help others avoid the same mistakes." Stephen nodded but pressed further. "Some critics say your success gives the impression that consequences don't always stick for people in power. That redemption is easier when you're famous. Do you understand where that's coming from?" A tightness flickered in Wahlberg's jaw. The actor sat a little straighter in his chair, the humor now drained from his expression. "Look, I didn't come here to relive the worst moments of my life," he said. "I came here to talk about a movie that's about second chances." "Ironic, right?" the crowd murmured. Colbert raised his hands lightly. "It's not an attack, Mark. It's a conversation. Your story is powerful because of that journey." Or Wahlberg shot back, voice edged with heat. "But when does the journey get to be about who I am now, not who I was at 17? Colbert didn't back down. "The public still sees that as part of the whole picture, and that picture is still evolving. Don't you think accountability continues, even when the spotlight moves on?" Wahlberg's eyes darkened. "You know what? You're not trying to have a conversation, you're trying to score points. That's what this is." His tone was sharper now, no longer trying to soften the blow. There was a beat of silence. The audience was no longer sure whether this was an act or an unraveling. Wahlberg leaned forward, voice low but intense. "I've worked every day of my life to make up for what I did. I don't hide from it. But I won't let you use it to turn this into a viral moment." The energy in the studio changed. Even Colbert looked taken aback by the sudden shift. "I'm just asking the questions people wonder about," he said, less confidently now. "No," Wahlberg snapped. "You're dragging it out for clicks. I don't play that game." Then came the moment that stunned everyone. Wahlberg unhooked his microphone, stood up from the guest chair, and said with a sharp finality, "I'm done." He turned and walked off the stage. Ignoring the calls from a producer just off camera and the shocked gasps of the live audience, Colbert, always one to spin a moment, tried to brush it off. "Well, I guess someone's not a fan of my croissant routine either," he quipped, forcing a smile. But his usual charisma fell flat. The tension still hung in the room like fog. As the cameras cut to an emergency commercial break backstage, chaos unfolded. Wahlberg was pacing, fists clenched, his team trying to calm him. "I came here with respect," he muttered under his breath. "I didn't ask to be dissected." Producers were scrambling, unsure whether to cut the segment entirely or air it as is, tweeted, and dissected within minutes. The incident would dominate headlines by morning, with fans split between outrage and support, and just like that, what was meant to be a typical Hollywood promo appearance turned into one of the most talked-about late-night walk-offs in recent memory. The morning after Mark Wahlberg's explosive walk-off on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, the internet was already on fire. News outlets from Entertainment Tonight to the New York Times were dissecting the dramatic moment, while social media was a battlefield of opinions. The hashtags #Wahlberg Walkout, #Colbert Clash, and #Late Show Drama trended simultaneously. Clips of the confrontation, some leaked from inside sources with clearer audio, had millions of views before noon. Asterisk people had questions. Did Colbert push too far? Was Wahlberg too sensitive? Was it a stunt? The debate wasn't just about what had happened, it was about the deeper cultural questions it raised. In an era obsessed with both redemption arcs and public accountability, Wahlberg had become an unintentional case study. Mark, meanwhile, had spent the night away from the spotlight. his team managed damage control behind the scenes, issuing a brief but firm statement on his Instagram. Asterisk, I went on the show to speak about a project that means a lot to me. I believe in growth, forgiveness, and moving forward. Last night was disappointing, but I stand by my choice to walk away from a conversation that stopped being constructive. Asterisk, the post was accompanied by a moody black and white clip from the film he was originally there to promote. A gritty redemption drama in which Wahlberg plays a former convict trying to reunite with his estranged son. It was a subtle but deliberate message. I know what I've been through. I don't need to prove it anymore. Asterisk, while fans flooded the comments with support. You don't owe anyone your trauma. And handled like a man, others weren't so forgiving. Critics and columnists dug deeper. Old op-eds resurfaced. Think pieces started popping up, questioning whether Wahlberg's public transformation had ever truly addressed the harm caused by his past actions. Asterisk, meanwhile, Stephen Colbert opened the next episode of The Late Show with a light but unmistakable nod to the previous night. Well, folks, he began, last night got a little spicy. I want to thank our remaining guests for staying seated and not flipping over the couch on their way out. Asterisk, the audience laughed, but there was a nervous undercurrent, he continued. We try to keep things honest here. Sometimes honest means uncomfortable. I have respect for Mark, and I hope next time we talk it's with less tension and more popcorn. Asterisk, some viewers appreciated Colbert's refusal to apologize. Others found his response flippant. But what became clear over the next 48 hours was that the incident had outgrown both men. It wasn't about Wahlberg or Colbert anymore. It was about how the public views remorse, redemption, and what it means to earn forgiveness. Asterisk, behind the scenes. Wahlberg reportedly turned down multiple invitations to appear on other talk shows to clear the air. One insider claimed he was furious with how the interview had gone off the rails, blaming producers for not briefing him on the line of questioning. They blindsided him, the source said. He thought this was going to be a routine press stop, not a courtroom. Asterisk, public relations experts weighed in. Some said Wahlberg walking off was a power move, a rejection of manufactured media narratives. Others called it a misstep, suggesting that if he had remained calm and responded thoughtfully, he could have owned the moment and controlled the narrative. Asterisk, by the end of the week, the buzz hadn't died down. In fact, Wahlberg's movie Tracken modestly saw a noticeable spike in online interest in ticket pre-sales. Whether intentional or not, the walk-off had put him back in headlines. And people were suddenly curious about the very film he never got the chance to promote. On air, asterisk, a few days later, Wahlberg was spotted at a youth center in Boston, one of the many community initiatives he supports, quietly but consistently. Photos of him mentoring kids circulated online with captions like, "This is the Mark Wahlberg I know." It was a reminder that for every explosive soundbite, there was a fuller picture, one shaped by years of both controversy and community work. Asterisk, neither Colbert nor Wahlberg commented further. The silence, ironically, spoke volumes, asterisk, in the end. The moment became more than late-night drama. It was a cultural flashpoint. People watched the clip again and again, trying to read faces, tones, body language. Was it ego? Was it trauma? Was it fatigue from a media cycle that often weaponizes vulnerability for views? Asterisk, whatever it was, Mark Wahlberg walking off Stephen Colbert's stage didn't end the conversation. It started one.